This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, now we bring a discussion on Science Communicators Meet. The participants are Biman, Basu, Senior Scientist, and Sanjay, Journalist.
Science Communicators Meet, which was inaugurated by Union Minister for Law and Justice and Electronics, Sri Ravi Shankar Prasadji, at the ongoing Indian Science Congress in Jalandhar. Mr. Basu, what is the role of science communicators in the modern era when we see India is evolving in the scientific arena? We have lots of innovators now. Our ranking in Global Innovation Index had jumped from 81st in 2015 to 60th in 2017. So that clearly shows that we are becoming more and more scientific innovation country. What do you think the role is played by the science communicator in disseminating the information among all the stakeholders?
Science and scientific research basically is done in laboratories, either in institutes or in universities. Now, what goes on in the laboratories, most people don't know. What they come to know about are the main results. For instance, discovery of a new medicine, discovery of a new method, discovery of a new technique of doing something. All these developments take place inside laboratories, to which the public has no access. So the basic role of a science communicator is to convey to the general public in simple words what is going on or what has been going on in a research institution or research laboratory, and what are the findings and how those findings can impact their life. Because public has a lot of misconceptions about scientific research and about their bad effects. Because unless you tell them in the right way and explain to them the complexities of what is being done, there's always a possibility that the public will misunderstand what is being done and either be afraid of things happening. For instance, it is very unfortunate that the first demonstration of nuclear energy was through the atom bomb. But we know today that a large number of applications concerning nuclear science is helping us. Right from medical aid to agriculture to many other things, which use radioactive material and radiation. But they are not dangerous in the sense they are used in a safe way. But people, many times, they don't know. But the moment they hear about radiation, they are scared. So it is the duty of a science communicator to explain how these radioactive materials are being used, for what purpose and for what benefit of mankind. So this is, I think, one of the basic roles of a science communicator, to explain science that is being done in laboratories to the common man in simple language.
You rightly said that the role of the science communicator is to bring the subject of science and innovation to the common people. In a country like India, where we have a large population still living in the rural India, and they do not have necessarily access to the information pertaining to the development in the science or technology, although they may be using it. So in such a scenario, how do you see the science communicators' communication practices impacting the information base in the rural India?
Now, one example I'll give you, Agriculture Ministry. There are lots of agriculture extension services. These extension services are basically manned by science communicators, because it is the role of these people to explain to the farmer or to the agriculturist how to do something, what to do in case of some maybe natural disaster or anything. For instance, today we have these soil cards and all these things. And farmers are becoming aware. They need to test their soil regularly to decide how much fertilizer has to be put in. Because earlier they used to believe that more fertilizer and more production. But that is not true. Because in some areas the soil lacks certain elements. In some other areas it lacks something else. So if the farmer is guided properly through testing their soil and using the proper fertilizer, they can not only save on the cost, but they can also benefit a lot. So this kind of thing, the research is done in laboratories, but the farmers are being told about these things, explained about these things by science communicators who are part of the agricultural extension program. The same thing, primary healthcare centers. For instance, this polio vaccine. Even today, for instance, there are sections of community who are scared of getting their babies, vaccinated with polio vaccine because of simple misunderstanding. So it is the duty of science communicators to tell them why they should get it done, what are the risks if they don't get it done. So, it is a way of simple exchange of views, exchange of ideas, and sort of convincing them that doing a certain thing is good for them. A scientist may not be able to convince them, but a science communicator can, because he always tries to use the language which are used by the common man.
Science communicators obviously use the language which is used by the common man. We have seen that India is now at the 6th position in scientific publications and 10th in the patent filing. And we have seen a lot of trust by the central government on a digital India. But we see much more people using digital products, digital services in the urban areas, and it's slowly catching up in the rural India. So as a science communicator, it also becomes very important for these people to write in the regional languages. The languages which a common man can understand, whether it's in Kannada or it's Bengali or Odia. You think regional languages have got more focus on scientific writing and propagate the digital India kind of campaign so people can get associated and get benefit of these innovative schemes launched by the central government?
Science communication in regional languages has been there for a long time in India. It is a traditional. In fact, very veteran scientists like J.C. Bose, Meghnad Saha, and people like that, they used to write popular science even in those days in the local language. In fact, S.N. Bose started a popular science magazine, monthly magazine in Bengali, which is still running. So that way they have been contributing. But today, among the languages in which a lot of science communication takes place regularly, apart from Bengali, Marathi, Malayalam is a very strong case, Tamil, Gujarati, Hindi of course is there, very large number of science communicators. So there is a growth in communicating science in regional languages, but it still suffers from a major drawback or handicap, you can say. Because, many of the technical terms are not easy to convey in regional languages. Although, for instance, the Central Hindi Directorate, they have standardized certain terms for certain traditional expressions used in English. But for the general reader, sometimes it becomes very difficult to understand. So the basic attempt of a science communicator should be that they should try to explain a process or a product rather than giving a term to explain it. Because I write in Bengali, if you make a little effort, it needs a lot of effort, then you can explain a very complex idea or complex concept in a simple language. And that is maybe lacking in certain writers. So that needs to be taken care of.
So you think government, apart from promoting these innovative ideas like digital India and all that, should also focus in propagating these ideas in the regional languages so that more and more people could be involved in benefiting these schemes, and that would be possible by roping in the science communication people, in that languages.
Now today, actually, the National Council of Science and Technology Communication, it's a part of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. They have annual awards for best efforts in science communication. So there they take care of writers in regional languages and all. So I think it is a big encouragement to those who are writing in regional languages to come up with the best, because there are quite a few awards for the electronic media, for regional languages and all. So they award almost 1 lakh rupee for the prize. So they are quite good incentive for science communicators in regional language to really come up and express or convey the scientific development to the common man. That they are doing. Now about digital India, you see, digital is something which has nothing to do with language. And digital has many more advantages than conventional, writing or typing, even writing on a computer. Because digital, the important part is, it is instantaneous. Today, when we use WhatsApp, I can send a photograph right now. I can take a photograph now and send it across to any part of the world in a second. It doesn't take time. I can do the same with this, short video. This was not possible earlier. So now, the advantage is that instead of writing, I can say something, I can show something and explain in regional language, and it instantly reaches the other side. And today I tell you, mobile phones are quite common in rural areas also. And especially with the launch of GSAT-11 recently, we have reached a stage where you can reach broadband services to the rural areas, which was not possible till recently. So, government is doing a lot to enhance or to improve the digital access of different services, even to the rural areas. And when that is really established, the large-scale broadband services into the rural areas, then I think it will be much more effective in communicating science to the people directly. And today, again, when you talk of digital, there are many more means of communicating. In our days, when we started communicating science, we could do only with printed journals, text. Today that limitation is not there. And printed material, after we wrote it used to take maybe a week to a month to get published. So there was a long time lag between what we wrote and the time it got published. But today, as I just mentioned, see WhatsApp and the different social networks, it can be done instantly and in any language. That is the main advantage of switching over to digital system, that we can talk about science in a simple language, in any local language, and transmit or convey it to the people directly in an instant. So that is a great advantage of the digital sort of changeover that we are seeing. But there is a risk also. Risk is, see, when we used to access journals, they were all peer-reviewed. That is, they were checked, the facts were checked, everything was checked, then they were published. So we didn't have any doubt about what is written in those journals. But when you talk directly, see, today, for instance, over the social network, we receive a lot of junk. For instance, today we read in the newspapers that top academician, he has claimed that days of Mahabharata, we had missiles and things like that. Now, these are all totally baseless sort of claims. For the simple reason that if you have a missile, you have to have certain infrastructure. In the sense, you have to have electronics, you have to have a wireless communication system. Did we have those systems? We don't have any evidence of that. So, only because it is mentioned in Mahabharata doesn't make it a fact, because Mahabharata is a good literature, we know that. But it is not based on facts. So, one should not mix. And, if it were sent to a publisher, it would have been rejected because there is a check and, this thing, we can always verify, check and reject an article. But when it is conveyed directly through social media, through any other media, today electronic media, it is versatile, you can do it. There is no check. So
there's no check. So we obviously need to be careful in whatever we read on the social media. So you mentioned about the advantages of new digital medium in spreading the scientific way of thinking among people and make science accessible to them. India being a very traditional society, you think that science communicators have played a great role in demystifying many of the myths which is around us? You were telling us earlier about eclipse. So, since you've been writing it for so long, you think the perception of many of such things have changed because of the reading in the scientific journals in their own languages?
Yes, definitely so. Because as I mentioned, 1980, 16th February, the solar eclipse, all the streets in India were deserted because people were scared of coming out of their homes during an eclipse. But 1995, 24th October, on the early day, there was another total solar eclipse. And that day, crores of people, they were outside to watch the eclipse. Of course, safely, because Department of Science and Technology had provided the filters for that. So this way, the change in mindset can take place if science communication is done in an effective way, in a proper way. So if you can explain the things to the people in a proper manner, they are intelligent enough to understand and then not follow those superstitious beliefs and other things. And that is what we need today, because India, to be a progressive country, we need to get rid of all the superstitious beliefs and the obscurantist tendencies from the mind of the people.
Obviously, the science communicators play a great role from bringing idea from lab to the common man's life. And as you mentioned that we need to communicate more to the common man about the scientific discovery. That way we can have the benefit of all these scientific discoveries. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Science Communicators Meet. The participants were Biman Basu, Senior Scientist, and Sanjay, Journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website newsonair.nic.in.